Good afternoon, everyone. This is Scott, and welcome to the weekly trade report video for the week of December 18th, 2016. Let's take a quick look here at the SPY S&P 500 index here, and it looks like it's been pulling back for a couple days, but had this brief pullback here a couple weeks ago, and then it rallied to new highs. So nothing too concerning there with the market. It still looks robust and strong, and from my scans, I'm still finding plenty of great setups in the leading sectors: the oil sector, the financial sector, and some other names out there. But the market still looks robust to me. I think the Dow is going to blow right through 20,000 pretty soon. So unless something changes, I still believe the market is going higher. So that's the SPY, and then let's take a quick look at see IWM. Very kind of similar thing here. Big move here. Few days of pullback, then rally to new high, and as long as that continues, where basically you have kind of a stair-step action, a move up, a brief pullback, and then a rally to new high. If that changes and you start getting lower highs and lower lows, then maybe we can be concerned here. But at this point, it's just the action is not concerning. It seems to be just steady progression to the upside. So those are the two small cap Russell 2000 and SPY. Let's see here. Let's look at another index here. Is the XLF, which is a financial sector fund. But the financial sector has been one of the leading sectors in the market, and this thing, a lot of these names, some of them are pulling back a little bit because they get extended and they start to consolidate for a little while, but they're still making new highs in the sector. Still several names. One of them we'll talk about today that looks really good for next week, but the financials remain robust. And then one more, take a look real quick at IBB. The IBB has been lagging, but starting to show some indications that may be turning up. So here's the IBB, the biotech index, and it looks like maybe it kind of filled this gap here from the election and kind of put in a bottom, and then now it's trying to turn up here. And I would say if this thing can break through maybe 276 area, that the biotech sector may be heading into a new uptrend. And there's a couple of names in the sector that I actually like. They're not ready yet to buy. I did CLCD is one of them that I'm keeping a close eye on here. This is one I traded before and lost some money on it. Tried to break out through 40, and then it failed, so I had to cut it. But it looks like it may be putting in a bottom here and rallying back up. So I'll still be watching CLCD through this 40 spot if it gets there. This one is on my radar, but it has some work to do. And then see, another one would be CLVS. This is another one that tried to break through kind of this 40 area as well, and then it pulled back, and it looks like it may be stabilizing and turning back up. So we'll keep an eye on those. They still got a little work to do, but the IBB sector may be, or the biotech sector may be turning up here, so keep an eye on it. But all right, so now I'm going to go over some names from last week's watch list. So we'll take a look at some of those names, a few that I traded. Let's see here. So all right, so let's just run through some of the names here. So first up was Rosetta Stone here. This is one I traded, actually made a pretty good profit on it. Had a nice ascending triangle pattern here, setting up basically right in here. I think it was like 850 spot, and kind of here was your ascending triangle set up here. And so I bought it, and then on Monday, I think it was, had a big rally here, got up to 880 is where I sold out of it, took some profits on it. It's kind of a thinner name, and I was happy with the trade. I didn't catch this. It's up to, I guess it got as high as I don't know, maybe 920 or something, but I'm fine with that. This was a good trade that I made based on a great technical pattern that did what it was supposed to do. So that was Rosetta Stone. Let's see here. Okay, so this was Red Robin. So the restaurant sector has also been strong, and there's some names on our watch list for this week. BJRI was one of them, but a lot of these restaurant stocks are strong lately, and they got some nice patterns here. And this was one that actually broke out. So it had this big run up, and then it had this flag pattern, and so right in this area here, had a nice breakout with some volume. See the volume spike there to the upside, and then it had a continuation. And I think this one actually closed at the high. For some reason, E-Trade Pro, it shows these after-hour prints, so it's not showing the actual closing price. I've got to figure out why it's not doing that, but so this is kind of deceiving, showing it closed at 56, but I think this one closed near its highs. So I'm going to figure out how to make E-Trade Pro show the closing prices instead of the after-hours prices, because it's kind of messing up my charts. But anyway, this was a restaurant stock that looked had a nice breakout of a flag pattern here. Red Robin. Let's see here. OSUR, this was another one we were looking at last week, you know, through this 9 spot, and this one actually had a nice break. Had some good volume coming in. This one actually looks higher. It's a biotech, I believe. But going back, you can see here where how important that resistance level was, right at $9 a share, and then it broke it, and so it's still relatively, you know, early in the breakout. It's still not too extended, so this one looks higher. That's OSUR. ON was another one. Had a nice clear resistance level here around 1250, and zoom in a little bit here. You know, so right on this 1250 spot, and then it had a breakout, and then it faded back a couple, you know, on this day, broke out and faded back, and then, you know, sometimes when you're swing trading, you're trying to catch a breakout, it takes, like, you get days like this where, you know, you enter it, and then it breaks, and it pulls back, and it's frustrating because you get to see your profit kind of zap away, and you kind of wish, hey, why didn't I just take a quick profit? Well, you can take quick profits if you go into the trade expecting it to, you know, just you want to catch that momentum move really quick, lock in profits, and then reevaluate the next day. That's fine too. But if you focus on the shorter time frames, kind of a day trader mentality, then you oftentimes will miss the bigger moves, and you'll see that a lot. Not that it's wrong to do that. It just depends on what your style of trading is and what you prefer to do. And sometimes as a swing trader, you catch them, you get into a position and you hold it, and you'll see your profits, you know, go back, and you end up flat on the position or go against you, and that's just part of the game. Sometimes that happens, but as long as you're, you know, resilient with cutting your losses if it goes below your stop point, you know, sometimes these things like this one, you know, had you waited a day, you'd had, you know, the continuation breakout on the volume, and you had a nice, you know, a nice move there, even if you would have bought it on this day. So it really depends on your style. You know, no method is 100% all the time, but I prefer to try to catch the bigger moves, and it's tempting, and sometimes it's frustrating because you see so many things moving, and you try to catch every move, and you end up really just over trading and giving back profits, and just basically getting frustrated. So personally, I like to try to catch a bigger move, and just, you know, it's not always easy to do, to be patient and wait when you're in a position, but you know, I find that it works good for me, and when I veer away from that, sometimes I make mistakes and get frustrated, which is you know, the last couple weeks have been kind of like that. So but I did, you know, make some good trades, and I'll talk about that. So next up, OKS. This is an oil play here. Had a nice, you know, spot here at 42.60, somewhere in there. It's on the watch list earlier in the week. Kind of had this ascending triangle pattern, and then, you know, tried to break out this day, and then kind of sat there for a day, and then 2 more days, and actually got a nice move up. And actually, from Friday was, I think it was like triple witching day or quadruple witching day, which is a day that many options expire like all at once. And so it creates this artificial volume oftentimes. So Friday's volume, you see a lot of big volume numbers on Friday, which can be a little bit deceiving. And I'm not sure why that is, but on these witching days, you'll see big volume spikes and a lot of names. So just to let you know that. And so this is an oil play, and a lot of these oil names still look like they're going higher. The oil sector, there's still some really nice setups in that sector. And we have some on the name for this week. I won't. There's many on the watch list that I won't go over, but take a look at the full watch list, and there's some other names on there. Let's see here. Next up, NTB. This was basically a bank stock. Had a nice pattern here. The run up, pull back, and then the rally and the breakout to new high. This was on the watch list earlier in the week here through this 30 spot. So it was a nice breakout there in a bank stock. Let's see, NIO. NIO was one that actually took a hit on this one, even though I had a nice profit. So sometimes these things happen. It's frustrating, but if taking a look at this stock here, had a nice through this 960 area somewhere in here. This was a breakout to all-time high on this day, and it had good volume. And so I bought this one on the break and had a nice profit. And then it just basically on this day, it basically gapped and then fell all the way back down, completely unexpected. Based on the technical pattern, it looked great. It had everything going for it. But and so when it went back down, I cut it. Basically took a small loss on it. So that was frustrating, but it happens sometimes. And so this one, then they upgraded it after it pulled all the way back to 9. So it kind of makes you wonder what kind of shenanigans were going on there behind the scenes. If they were just dropping it to get, and upgraded it on this day here after the close, after it pulled back. So, but this one, it may turn back up and make new highs, and that's just what it is. But NIO, that was one that I traded last week. Let's see, LVLT, been watching this one, another one that I tried to get in and it didn't go, but it's still a very constructive chart pattern here. Somewhere in this 57 area, it's tapped it here, tapped it there, and then now it's trying to turn back up here, and it's got a nice ascending triangle type pattern here. And if this one breaks out through this, 57.50, I think that the high for the past, say 5 years or 4 years has been right in there at that 57.50 area, something like that. So this one breaks out to be a multi-year high, and this is a communication stock, level 3 communications. And take a look at Verizon and some of these other communication names. The sector is strong right now. So this one looks really good. It's a bigger name company. It's got like a 20 billion market cap, but I mean you can still make money on them when they get their moves. But this chart looks really great. I'd keep an eye on this one next week for a breakout to new all-time or multi-year highs. KTWO, this is a medical stock here, and this is a breakout pullback setup here. This one had a nice breakout through this basically 20 spot or 1975 area, rallied up, and then it pulled all the way back here. And so it looks like it's finding some support here and turning back up. So if this one does turn back up, the first target would be recent highs up here, 21 area, and then potentially new highs. But it looks like, if you can kind of draw a trend line here, looks like it's kind of got it's following this support trend line as well as this previous resistance trend line here. So it's in a nice area, and KTWO looks like it could have a nice rally back up to 21. Let's see, IPI. So this is one I actually traded last week that did pretty good with it. Actually, got a piece here. This one had a big run up and then a pullback, and it appeared to be stabilizing right on this $2 area. Okay. And this is where I thought this thing was going to rally from, and then so on this day at around $2.10 or 15 cents, I bought a pretty good piece, and then it rallied all the way up, and so I took some partial profits at 236, and still holding a piece, which Friday I actually had a big move. I should have probably sold some into that, but I think this one's going higher. If you look at the chart here, this thing's been basing for, go back a year, basically down here, this big long base, and then it broke out to multi-month highs. So this one, it looks to me like it's beginning a new uptrend, a stage 2 uptrend, along with the rest of the sector. See, this thing's beaten down 2 years ago. This thing was 14 bucks a share, but the fertilizer sector, it's a combination of the sector strength too. If you look at some of the other ones like Mosaic, MOS, UAN, they're also showing favorable uptrending patterns. which gives me more, you want to look at the sector strength, and I think this one looks good. It's got some resistance here, basically on Friday's high, maybe around, I think it's around 270. Let's see. Yeah, right in there, 270. But so this one I think is going higher pretty soon. So IPI I like. Still got a position in that one. Let's see here. IONS. This was a nice flag. See that spot there right around 48. 1, 2, 3. Tapped it several times, and then it had a pretty good breakout on volume. This one definitely looks higher. Here's the big run up, and then here's the consolidation, and then the breakout of that. So this is a bull flag pattern, and this one looks like it's going to go higher as well. IONS. Form is another one I traded, and I took that one off for a basically flat even trade, and this one still looks pretty good here. It's got this nice pattern here right around 1150 is the breakout spot, somewhere in this area here, and it looks like it's still trying to break. It's just very slow, and so I just cut it. It just wasn't moving the way I wanted it to do. So, but the volume is not too bad. It's pretty decent volume in this thing. Maybe it goes next week. Oftentimes these things they'll sit there and break out, and it takes them a couple days sitting around the breakout level, and then they finally go. And oftentimes you're not watching it when it does go, but so this one, I mean, the chart still looks good. It's just not moving. It hasn't moved yet. So it's form. Let's see here, ECOL. ECOL, this is another one that's right on this 48 spot. I think this one closed pretty close here, but this one's still still looks constructive here. The pattern is still in play, kind of an ascending triangle type pattern here, and I think this one looks higher too. It's just a slow mover. It's not really getting anywhere at the moment, but the pattern's still there. It still looks bullish. And I think I'm not sure if I think I may have traded this one, and once again it just didn't go, so I took it off. It just wasn't ready. So let's see what else. CCXI, and once again, E-Trade is showing this thing at 826. This thing closed at the high day, somewhere around $9. And look at that volume. This is really what you're trying to aim for, guys. And I didn't trade this one because by the time I seen it, it was already up at like 870. But I mean, it still really ran here. But what you're looking at is a range breakout. And once again, remember this one closed at $9 and had the big volume. So you got the expanding volume and a breakout of a range. That's as good as it gets. And if you can, I think many times I mess up, and without looking at the volume, you want to have the expanding volume. It doesn't always have to be expanding volume to have a breakout, but if you look for and only focus on trading the ones that are getting expanding volume, then you're going to have a higher success rate. And so this is just a perfect example of that, CCXI. And let's see, AQXP was another one. Had a nice breakout, and look at the volume. See that volume there? I mean, here's the pattern, and you get the expanding volume. That's as good as it gets, guys. Expanding volume, breakout of a range. I mean, that is the holy grail of trading, right there. So it's just two great examples of breakouts on expanding volume, and you can pull this one back, and you can see here this was a cup and handle pattern is what this one was. But here's the cup, and here's the kind of sideways handle, and then the breakout. And then, so if you were swing trading this one, I mean, this is frustrating too, right? You hold this thing, and then you don't take profits, and it pulls back today. But this one, it still looks higher. I mean, it did have this red day here, but this one probably is ultimately going to resolve to the upside. So it depends on your time frame. I see nothing wrong with locking in partial profits when you get a move like this. That's the prudent thing to do. Take some off the table, and then ride some for a bigger move. But anyway, there's AQXP. Let's see here. Calix, CALX. This is another one. Had some good volume Friday, but once again, that's probably due to the witching day stuff. But it's got a spot here at 8. It didn't go. I tried this one Friday, and it just didn't go. I thought it was going to go, it didn't. So I took it off. I think break even trade. So that's what it is. Sometimes that happens, but you can try to enter these things before the breakout, which I sometimes try to do, or wait until they actually get the breakout. And so either method will work. It's just sometimes you got to sit on the position if you get in early, and if you're trying to day trade or something like that, then you can just take it off for flat. But anyway, and then let's see, one more is cash. So this was another banking stock, savings and loan or something here, but here's the pattern here. Run up and then a pull back and then a breakout through this recent high through 96. Had a nice push, and once again you see the big volume expansion there. So that's really the key on the breakouts, is you want to see that expanding volume. So okay, there's a summary of last week's trade. I basically broke even, although I did pretty good with IPI on Thursday. So it's a combination of trying to do too many things and maybe trying to do short-term like day trade type things, which I'm not really the greatest at. And so I'm going to try to turn away from that and just really focus on swing trading, because it's my style. And even though there's a lot of people that want to jumping in and out of stocks all day, I find it's more frustrating for me, and I do better when I focus on the bigger moves. All right, so next up, let's take a look at the watch list for this week here. Let's see. So first up is FGL. So FGL is a insurance company, like life insurance or something. But this pattern, and once again, this thing closed at 24. So look at the daily chart, it closed at 24, and this 24 has been a resistance level basically back here. Right in there, tapped it once, and then it pulled back and a big run up, and then this kind of sideways consolidation in here, which is basically a flag type pattern, and it closed at 24. So this one, if it can break through 24 on some volume, it looks like a great trade idea through 24. And if you pull up let's see a longer term time frame. So right here, it poked through 24, but this one I really like through this 24 area. And based on the depth, I would use this 23, kind of 23.20, 24. So maybe your target is 24.80, first target somewhere in there. So, but I really like that chart there, FGL. CZNC is an ascending triangle pattern, and it closed near 26, I think 25.60 or something. But this is a nice ascending triangle, a banking stock here. It's not a very big trader. It trades maybe average 50,000 shares a day, but the pattern looks really good. So if this one can push through 26 and get some high relative volume relative to its average volume, I think this is a good trade. And the pattern is really, really good. So this is a banking stock, CZNC. BJRI, this is another one where you got a nice flag pattern. You got an uptrending trend line here that's supporting this, and then you got some resistance right around this 40 area. And once again, this one closed above 39, near the 40 level. And so this one would be this one looks really good. If you take a look at Red Robin, RRGB, I think it is, you can kind of see how that pattern played out. I think you could see a similar type pattern play out here with this BJRI restaurant stock here, and the pattern looks really good. So there's BJRI, and we already talked about LVLT. This one is still looks good for new highs. I'd keep an eye on that one. And let's see here, LLNW is another one. Basically through $2.45 resistance area here. This one had a nice move, and it looks like it's flagging here, but it looks like it may want to break out through this resistance out of this flag pattern to new highs. ZIOP is very interesting. This one had a breakout through $6, and since then it's been kind of coiling up. It's a biotech, and the biotech sector looks like it may be bottoming and turning up. So this one, I would watch for a breakout through, I'd say Friday's high through 660 for a confirmation for a trade. And I think this one could be, heading up potentially back up through, 750 area if it breaks out through 660, and that would be confirmation that this coiling type pattern here is completed, and it's going to resolve itself to the upside. But this one looks interesting. ZIOP, like that one. GEOS, another oil play here. It tried to break this 2250 spot on Friday, poked its head through, and then closed, I think, right at 2250. But once again, here's the pattern. Here's the uptrend line. You can see how it's kind of bouncing off this, and so it's got the 2250 spot here. I think this one ultimately goes higher. It's also kind of a thinly traded name, but these oil plays, a lot of them still look good. This is one that still looks good, and it's not extended too far beyond its breakout point. ATKR, this one closed at like 2220, so the clean break on this one is somewhere in this 2250 area here. It's a nice looking pattern. Keep an eye on that one. If it tries to break 2250 on some volume, expanding volume, that would be a good trade. AMID is an oil play, another oil play here. And so here's the long basing pattern where it broke out through like 1550 area, and then so now it rallied up, kind of put a top in right in this area, 1750, had a brief pullback, a natural reaction, and then now it's perking back up. It looks like it wants to make new highs. So AMID, another oil play here that's strong, looks like it's could potentially make new highs next week sometime. ARRY, previous one that I traded, had a swing trade in this one for a while. It looks like it's holding this trend line here, and basically flatlining around 875 area, kind of putting in this flat base, sideways action here, very constructive. And I'm not sure where I'd get long this thing, but if the volume starts to expand, maybe through $9 would be a good entry. But this one, it's a biotech pharmaceutical company, but this pattern remains strong, and it's been strong ever since it broke 7, right in this area right here. It's just been kind of stair-stepping higher. So ARRY still looks good. CYTK was on our watch list, and it did have a nice pattern basically through 1250, kind of a cup and handle pattern, kind of like what you've seen with AQXP. But there was an announcement on Friday, I think, that they're going to do a 200 million shelf offering. So they're going to that may hit the shares and may invalidate this pattern. So they could gap down on Monday. I don't know. But anyway, if it does break through 1250 on expanding volume, it's still a trade. So, but that announcement on the offering is probably not good for the stock. Let's see here. AFSI, this is another banking stock, and here's the recent high, so 29, 70, maybe 28, and so this one you're looking at, it actually broke through 28 on Friday, so there's a resistance, and then it tapped it again, pulled back, and then it just barely broke it. So this is an early stage breakout. I think this is a very long term, so it's looks like it's been basing here for a while, and it looks like it's ready to make new highs. So this is a financial stock, and I think this one looks higher here. It's AFSI. Let's see, EPZM. This one, once again, this one closed closer to 12 than it did where, somewhere above 1175, somewhere in there, I think. But this one has a nice spot here. Once again, a flag pattern run up, kind of consolidation here, and through 12 would be a good spot here. on the breakout if it can get expanding volume. This is another healthcare related stock, EPZM. MFS is another range consolidation, big run up, tight. It's been this tight range for I don't know, quite a while here, and looks like, I mean, it's got to choose a direction here soon probably, and based on the pattern, I think it's going to resolve to the upside. So maybe watch this one, the clean break somewhere here around 1815, on expanding volume. So just getting really tight. So when you get this range, and a very tight range, volatility contraction type patterns, these things have a tendency to pick a direction and then explode either to the downside or the upside, and have a nice range breakout. So this is one to watch. MFS. GST, another oil play here, around 840. The clean break is up here around 850, 846, I guess. But tapped it twice and then it's put in this higher low here, closed it high of day. If oil continues higher on Monday, this would be one to watch for a breakout, potentially new highs. Okay, and then Mosaic is another fertilizer stock. Just wanted to kind of show this one really quick and kind of show you what I'm seeing here on this. So here's the trend line here, right? Looks like it's pulling back to this trend line. It's like that support. Here was the original breakout of like a head and shoulders bottom down here, rallied up, pulled back, bounced off the trend line, rallied up, and now it's pulling back again, and kind of in this area is the support right here. And so this one still looks good. The sector, I think the fertilizer sector still looks pretty good to me, but if this one starts to turn up, I would look for a retest of this and then potential breakouts and new highs, because it's still holding the trend. And then one more is UAN. Once again, it's another fertilizer stock. But take a look at, I like this chart just really quick. You can see kind of the transition. See this downtrend? See how you have a low, a rally, and a new low, and then a little bit of a rally, puts in a lower high, and then it breaks, it makes a new low, lower low, a little bit of a rally. So this is clearly a downtrend, right? And so you can kind of see that, this downtrend. And then right here on this back here, you see this first higher low, right? So this is your first indication, and it breaks this downtrend line, and this downtrend, maybe you could kind of fit it to it, maybe somewhere in that area right there, across the peaks of this downtrend. And then so that's your first indication that this is a change in trend. Okay, this first higher low and then the break of the trend line, and then it puts in basically a head and shoulders pattern, where here's the left shoulder, here's the head, and then you call this maybe the right shoulder here, or this one. But you can see here how the transition from lower lows, lower highs, to higher highs and higher lows, right? So it's stair-stepping higher now. And then on Friday, it had a nice rally off kind of this trend line here, right? See this trend line, something like this, off the 540 spot. And so this one, another fertilizer stock that looks to be continuing an uptrend at the moment. And so this one I think is probably going to head back towards recent highs, right in here, 580, 586, somewhere in there, and then probably just make new highs, kind of like what it did here, right? Pull back and then new highs, pull back, new highs. So as long as that trend continues, and then the sector, and you're seeing that similar pattern in the sector, then the trend is still to the upside. So that's all I got for today, guys. There's still plenty of great setups. If you want to take a look at the main watch list, there's still a lot of names on there. I didn't put them all on the top watch, but there's still a lot of names, a lot of good setups for Monday. And hope you guys had a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday. Thanks.